For this tutorial, you will learn how to use the superhatch command. To access your superhatch command, you will go to your ribbon and look for your Express tools. Once in your Express tools, in your draw panel, you will find that superhatch icon. The superhatch gives you multiple ways to insert external materials and patterns or created patterns into your drawing files or your drawing image. We will learn how to use the image and the block pattern types. With the image, this is where you can pull in external materials to bring to your drawing. For this tutorial, we're using the wooden plank image. We're simply going to open that image. We want to make sure that we have a full path of this image. We can specify the scale on the screen. Should you need to rotate this pattern in any directions, this is where you will place your angle under where it says rotation, or you can choose to specify it on the screen. Selecting OK will bring you into your AutoCAD drawing. In your command bar, you see that the insertion point is 0 to 0. It is up to you to choose where you would like your insertion point. Once you have selected the point to start, you will simply move your mouse to begin to scale up your image. Bring it to the scale factor in which you would like it to be. If the image preview is a placement acceptable, you will select yes. Where in the command bar it asks us to specify the option, now we need to define the area in which our texture will be placed. We will be placing this texture in this large area here. So I'm simply going to click in the center to go ahead and create the blue bounding box around the space. If everything is okay, I simply will press enter and allow the program to load my textured material. After a moment, that texture material will appear in the bounding space that I selected. Should you need to make any changes, you can simply hover over your image, left click, and use any of the options to either turn the texture on or off, create a transparency to the background. And like any other command, you can always right click to open up your properties palette, manipulate the image by making any adjustments, or the drawing order sending images to the front or the back in case things are on top of each other. Going back to those Express tools and creating a super hatch, we're going to now learn how to use a block pattern. This is where we will, for this tutorial, create a tile-like pattern in this space. But we're going to create it ourselves by drawing an image and turning it into a block. Going to my Home tab, I'm going to select my rectangle tool, and I'm simply going to draw a rectangle that has the measurements of 12 inches by 12 inches. I would like to create an octagon pattern for this space, so I need to create that octagon shape. Using the chamfer tool, I'm going to give my size a distance of 4 inches for my first and my second lengths. And then I'm going to use my polyline to go ahead and select all my corners at one time to be trimmed. So now we have this shape ready to go. This must be created as a block. So I will go to my Insert tab, Create Block. When it opens, title my block name as Tile Pattern. Make sure that it is the delete option ready for the object, and I would like to pick the points on my screen. And pick up the points. I want to go right where that intersection was, where my original rectangle or square was that I created. And then I want to make sure that I select the objects on my screen, which is the pattern that I created or the shape. By selecting enter, I now have in the block definition, the name, and a preview of the shape that I am going to be using and saving for this block. Simply selecting OK, I am now ready to create my super hatch pattern. Going back to my Express Tools and selecting super hatch, I'm now going to pick block and look for the block that I named as tile pattern. By selecting OK, I am ready to bring it to my screen. For the insertion point, you will simply pick the corner or the area in which you would like to begin to insert your shape. Remember, we want to keep the scale factor at 1. And our insertion point or the angle, we're going to go ahead and leave it at 0. In this preview here is asking me, is my block acceptable? This is where you will select yes. And then you will get a magenta bounding box around your shape. And it will show that all of your shapes will be attached to this shape in a pattern to where it leaves that spacing of where all of your magenta sides are. If this is okay, we can select enter. Again, we're going to specify the option, which is creating that area bounding where this pattern will be repeated. In choosing to right click inside of my space, I have my border created and I'm ready to press enter. At this time, we will watch and allow the program to load and repeat this pattern in the selected area. Now we have the repeated tile pattern throughout this entire space. And we have used the super hatch command to create our own tile pattern or texture image.